Here at the Silver and Gold Summit in San Francisco, California, with Tim Termuende, President and CEO of Eagle Plains Resources. Eagle Plains trades in the venture under the symbol EPL. Tim, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Rob.
It's been a while, Tim. I want to get to the good news here, but in the meanwhile here, why don't you kind of bring us up to speed? Take us all the way back and set up what's Eagle Plains Resources, what have you been doing the last couple of years?
Sure, I'm glad you asked. Actually, we've been around for 24 years as a public company, as a publicly traded exploration company, which in itself is no small feat, I think. It's a very, very risky business, and we've sort of figured out over the years how to de-risk the riskiest part of the mining business. The company was started in 1992 by my father and I, and we're based out of a small town in Cranbrook, so that sort of has been part of our success and our continuing survival over the years. But yeah, we essentially do a lot of research and acquisitions. We stake our own claims. We have a fairly large network of prospectors and other junior mining companies. And we basically get in on the ground floor with acquisitions. We bring in other partners to help share the risk. Over the years, we've done dozens and dozens of property deals. We currently have a very healthy treasury. We've got almost $5 million in cash and short-term securities, and hold a number of projects, hold a number of royalties. We've got 84 million shares out right now, and we're very proud to say we've never had to roll back. We haven't had a financing in 8 years, so we basically figured out a way to take dilution out of this very risky business, and we're moving forward on that note.
And speaking of moving forward here, obviously we've got some good language here, a strong management team. This is the one that strikes me here. Some nice returns for your investors.
Yeah, we've had a great run. I've looked at our stock chart over the last 20 years. Again, we started trading in '94. Over those years, we've had, everybody's looking for 10 baggers. We've had 4 of them. They happen to cycle about every 5 or 6 years, and we haven't had anything exciting happen in the last 5 or 6 years, relatively speaking. So I would say it's safe to say we're poised for big action, and we're positioning ourselves right now, too, with some of the option partners we have, to, we're expecting to have a pretty good next year, year and a half, 2 years.
And speaking of those next couple of years, why don't we talk about this new spin out here you guys have going here over at Taiga?
You can step right over to it if you like.
Yeah.
Right now we've got an option arrangement with SSRMining, which was formerly Silver Standard Resources. SSR is working on our Fisher property in northern Saskatchewan, which is just adjacent and just due south of SSR's CB and Santoy deposits. We did an option deal with SSR a year and a half ago, and they've since done a fair bit of work on the property. They're very encouraged by what they're seeing. They tell us they're going to do a lot of drilling this winter on our Fisher property. And so with that in hand, we decided that it's probably time to spin that out, the Fisher property, spin out into a separate company, which we've incorporated. It's called Taiga Gold Corp. And we expect then to manage the Fisher property through Taiga Gold Corp. And that has worked for us in the past. We've done these spin-outs before. Our most successful one was Copper Canyon Resources a few years ago. And by separating Fisher into a separate company called Taiga, Eagle Plains shareholders will automatically receive Taiga shares, so they'll be in the game moving forward. And by having the Fisher property and a couple of other surrounding properties within Taiga, we can market it separately from Eagle Plains, so when we want to finance, we don't have to dilute Eagle Plains shareholders. We will start with a tighter shell with Taiga. It'll have roughly 42 million shares out, under 50 million shares for sure. So we'll have a lot of ceiling to be able to finance that company. We'll be able to market it separately as the company that holds Fisher. One of the challenges we have with Eagle Plains is because we have so many projects. We have roughly 40 projects and a bunch of royalties. It's hard to separate and focus on any one, and this will allow us to do that by putting Fisher in a separate shell like that. And also, it simplifies the ownership. If someday SSRM wants to acquire the whole property, it makes it very easy for them to just take over Taiga Gold Corp. Just makes it simple. There's only a few projects in there, quite uncomplicated. And so that's the end goal. That's what we're hoping, is someday that we will merge with SSRM. There's no guarantee that'll happen, but we hope it will. And we've done it in the past with Copper Canyon Resources. It was a very similar setting with Copper Canyon. We had a big company next door who wanted our ground. Eventually, we ended up doing a merger with NovaGold, and that provided a $65 million payday for our shareholders and instant liquidity because it's easy to trade shares in those big companies. They trade $5 million worth a day. So our shareholders, if they own those shares, will have a chance to exit if they want to. It's up to them.
We're always looking for news, so I imagine you're going to have a pretty busy news cycle here coming down.
We will be very busy this year. We're putting 5 different projects into Taiga Gold. They're all in the same geographic area, all within 100 kilometers of the CB deposit. And SSRM has indicated to us that they are going to do an aggressive drill program all year next year, through the year. We've also got a partner, Aben Resources, in one of our other properties that will go into Taiga. That's the Chico property. And so Aben has indicated they'll be drilling this winter too. So we expect a fairly continuous news flow for Taiga. And at the same time, we'll be rolling up our sleeves back to the books with Eagle Plains and doing what Eagle Plains does. Doing a lot of acquisitions. We've got work lined up next year for Eagle Plains as well. So we'll basically be splitting the two up. Same management team for both. Same underlying philosophies for both. And so we're just looking forward to the future. We think it's great. Our share price has been steady at 14, 15 cents. We've got a very strong treasury. In Eagle Plains, we've got roughly $5 million in cash and short-term securities. So we're not in any position that we have to expect any further dilution. We're just doing what we've been doing, sticking to the playbook, and it's been working well. We're quite happy with it.
Excellent. Well, thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Tim Termuende, President and CEO of Eagle Plains, EPL on the venture. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.